you're too connected to how it's always been and you don't see how it can be in the future because there's a door opening, then you might miss out on those opportunities. And if an opportunity is meant for you, the most important thing is that you see it and allow it to be part of your life because you deserve it. Hi, this is Denise Matthew. I hope you're doing well. I'm here today to talk about the full moon happening, and that's going to be happening on February 24th, 2024, and it will be happening at 5 degrees Virgo. Earlier in the month, we had sort of more of a tribal new moon, and now we're moving into something that is a little bit more individual. It's a mixed bag of all types of energy as far as the lines go, which means that a lot of different parts of your life and how you approach your life can be activated. It is a more generalized theme, so it's not as specific as the new moon that we had earlier in the month. One thing in common with the earlier new moon that we had in February is the idea that it is hitting an area, or what I would call a hot spot, where Saturn was transiting. Saturn brought the exaltation to this energy, and Saturn was in there part of 2023 and some of 2024. And the dates that might have sort of showed you a little bit of this energy and maybe it's going to be reactivated are from April 23rd to May 5th, July 31st to August 14th, and finally January 17th to 26th in 2024. The others were in 2023. These are themes that were playing out both globally and personally at that time that might be reactivated, and kind of almost maybe bring some level of closure. So not only is this full moon bringing emphasis to that time period where Saturn was in that energy, it is also activating the sixth line of the gate 55 and the gate 59 line 6. And these are very instrumental in the 2027 mutation that we're moving forward into. So even more impact and kind of importance to this full moon. So we have the sun in the gate 55 line 6, and this is the energy of abundance. This is the energy of surrender. This is energy that says that when you release your hold on how things are supposed to be in the world, in your life and everything, the universe answers the call. This energy is really about believing in the idea that the universe does have your back. The universe is helping you out along the way. And when you let go and surrender to what is, you can start to see the opportunities that are there for you to be supported in your life. And that is a big theme. And the gate 55 line 6 does bring this theme of divine selfishness, which really talks about serving yourself before you serve others. The easiest way to describe this is always pouring from a full cup. So if you feel that you're supported, you are abundant, that you can help others with their abundance. But if you are, not feeling supported, you don't feel abundant, and you're trying to give from that place of not feeling abundant yourself, it's only going to deplete you. So this is always about supporting yourself before you support others. It makes a lot of sense when you hear it, but on the other hand, it happens very often that we are giving and giving and giving, not receiving, and eventually get, exhausted, burnt out, tired, and trying to still serve from that place of emptiness. If we look at the sun and the earth in the gate 59 line 6, this does kind of bring the emphasis to a relationship, because the gate 59 is related to tribal energy. It is related to bonding. It is also related to breaking barriers. And in the sixth line, this is really breaking barriers to have the ultimate relationship. Now, the ultimate relationship doesn't necessarily have to be romantic. It can be like a close connection, a close friendship, something where you feel like you have a very deep connection that sort of goes beyond the mundane. It goes beyond the romance. This is something that feels more important. Alternatively, it could feel like maybe that's the kind of connection you want with somebody and you don't feel you have it. And for that reason, you decide that you no longer want to be in a relationship with whoever you're in, and it could be even a friendship. And you want to move into something else. It could be connected to a project that you feel like it doesn't serve you anymore. So in some way, it isn't kind of giving you that expansiveness that you would hope for. So you may decide, okay, this isn't working for me. With Venus and Mars in the gate 19, it really is bringing that relationship perspective into it. So it does kind of lean more towards a relationship again. And so did the new moon that we had earlier in February. With the new moon, we talked about the gate 49 being impactful, revolution, making rules for what you want in your relationship. The gate 19 bringing this energy of sensitivity, deciding, okay, am I supported in this relationship? So the overall theme of support is very strong within this full moon, and feeling supported by the universe, but also feeling supported in your relationships on planet Earth as well. And if that's not sort of happening the way you feel that it should be happening, the gate 19 line 3, Venus in the gate 19 line 3 is really bringing this energy to pick out the right people for you to see very clearly, which is wonderful, that this person is really supporting you and maybe this person isn't. So that is something that the full moon is going to bring to you, this clarity of knowing who is for you and knowing who potentially isn't for you. So if we add in Saturn in the gate 37, this is bringing this theme of relationships and family and community again. This is talking about if it is in your best interest to stay in a relationship, a friendship, or a community, or if it's time for you to find a place where you feel more supported. When you look at Jupiter in the gate 24 line 3, and this is sort of the last time it's going to be in here for another 12 years because of the cycle of Jupiter, this is talking about addictions. Now, addictions can come in many ways, and that's something to keep in mind for this full moon. That theme of addiction might definitely rear its head. But with all the relationship energy in this full moon, it is talking about, are you addicted to a relationship and that you cannot see yourself outside of that relationship? And is there indications that maybe it is no longer serving you as it should? And with Jupiter in the gate 24, this does bring this spiritual connection. So then the question would be, are you addicted to a spiritual community that maybe was really great in the beginning and maybe it's not so good anymore? With Saturn in the gate 37, this is really talking about relationships, community, and friendships, but it also talks about this hierarchy of the way it's always been done. And it does talk about this expectation that if you are a certain individual, then you should do this type of a job. But what this is saying is that that is sort of like an old and archaic way of looking at the world. And now we know that just because you are a certain person doesn't mean that you are precluded from doing certain jobs. But Saturn is sort of saying, well, you're that person, so you do that job, and you're that person and you do that job. But what this is saying is that if you're feeling that in a community, a relationship, or a friendship, that you are being sort of made to conform to the expectation of this is all you can do, this is a time where you can sort of spread your wings and say, no, this no longer works for me. And maybe I think I need it, but maybe I don't necessarily need it as much as I think I do. And that's where we get into the gate 24 and this addiction and this idea of, do I really need this? The gate 24 is an awareness gate too. So it will bring you the awareness about what you need and what's better left alone. But the perspective is, are you willing to serve yourself? The gate 55 line 6, are you willing to serve yourself and to say, this is better for me? And maybe it's not necessarily better for the other people that I have to go away from, but I have to take care of myself if I'm going to be the best version of who I am. Then we have Mercury in the gate 55 line 3, and this really brings in this idea of honoring your moods, honoring where you are, honoring who you are, what you feel, and expressing yourself as you see fit. If you are expressing yourself in a way where you are, again, conforming, if we look back to the gate 37, you're conforming to this idea of what you're supposed to do or what you're supposed to say and how you're supposed to feel, then it's going to leave you with a sense of emptiness. And that is a bottom line for the full moon. If you are feeling empty, what do you need to fill yourself with? Now, a lot of times if we feel empty, we want to fill ourselves with something that is not necessarily in our best interest. It could be food, it could be drugs, it could be too much of something. Alternatively, this is about filling yourself with the love of your spirit to be able to express yourself in the way that you best see fit in the world, and to not concern yourself about what other people think, because it does not matter what people think of you. It doesn't matter if people don't align with your truth, your authenticity, your uniqueness. This is about deciding for yourself that expressing yourself the way you want to is way more important than conforming to the expectations of anybody who is in your life. And that's ultimately what this full moon is saying. And finally, with Pluto literally just moving into the gate 60 line 6 just before this full moon, this is really talking about, are you restricting yourself too much? Are you trying to limit yourself too much? Are you kind of staying in that small box that maybe somebody else has decided for you instead of expanding the way you want to? The limitation within the gate 60 is always about transcending the limitation and allowing the obstacles in your world to remove themselves so that you can continue on your path. It is the limitations that we have in our life that we accept as being part of our life. And as soon as that happens, usually we start to up level in some way. But what happens sometimes with the gate 69.6 is you get into this mindset where you think that the limitation, if I do more of this, I'm going to get more of that. But that is not how it works. The limitation is something that the universe sets for you, not something that you set your sight on and sort of doggedly continue doing to the point where it almost gets overwhelming and you wonder if there's anything good in life. So this is about saying you can release yourself in a way that feels good for you by potentially opening your eyes for opportunities that you might not be seeing because you're too busy trying to limit yourself or trying to stop yourself from progressing. And this can also go back into this addiction of spiritual practices and saying, okay, if I do it enough, if I do this enough in my spiritual practice, I will get that one thing that I want. But that's not necessarily true, because we know the nature of life is to allow it to unfold and to bloom when it's ready. You have a beautiful rose and it's a rosebud, and it will bloom when it's ready. The petals will open up. Now, if you try and peel those petals away, all you're going to get is a sad looking rosebud that might have been beautiful at one point, and now it's not really spectacular like it could have been. So it is saying finding the balance between letting the world unfold and show you the path that you were meant to walk, but also being open to seeing it. And with that said, I hope you have an amazing full moon. And until next time, take care and bye for now.